Hello and welcome. I'm Coral Bass with Manatee County Parks and Natural Resources in beautiful Conservatory Park. This week we've been talking all about a holiday in the sun, and we are able to do an activity that is super duper festive. In fact, this activity we're going to be doing, wreath making, is pretty ancient. It predates even most of our holidays. You have Romans made wreaths. You have even as far back as the Etruscans. So long distance back, past, think 2,000 years. So we're going to be making them out of muscadine. You can see plant right behind me. These are our wild grapes. Awesome, awesome vine to know. Best way to identify them is with their heart-shaped leaves. All right, you can see they're heart-shaped with serrated edges. Very pretty, perfect leaf. All right, you use these, and you're gonna be choosing vines like these that are no bigger than like a pencil. My finger length is about the width of a pencil. So you don't wanna choose a vine that's too big. You wanna choose thin, skinny vines that are easy and malleable. And you wanna make sure they're long. So what are the things you need for this? Well, let me show you. So the supplies you're gonna need, it's very simple. You're gonna need space, but you're also gonna need a bag so that we can haul up some of that muscadine. You're gonna need some shears or some sort of scissors in order to cut the muscadine, and you're gonna need gloves. Gloves we use to protect those hands. Well, that's really it, and you can make a basic wreath just using those simple items. When harvesting muscadine, please make sure you don't do it in one of our preserves. Preserves are there for the animals, and cutting out some of these muscadines would take away some of the fruit because they're our wild grapes, right? We don't want to take away our fruit from our future animals. So make sure you're harvesting from someone you know or from a local backyard. They're found all over the state and actually all over the Southeast. So keep your eyes open. Other vines that can be used is Virginia creeper. But if you don't know the vine, please do not pick it. We don't want you accidentally choosing poison ivy. That would be terrible. So fresh cut vines are the best ones to use because they're more pliable and easy to maneuver. But you also have to prep them after. If you weren't going to use fresh cut, you'd have to go and get it and soak it overnight to get it soft enough so that it works. But with muscadines at this time of year, they've got plenty of water in them and they're really easy to maneuver. So the first thing you're going to want to do is trim back the edges of the muscadine so that you don't have any extra branches hanging around. You could wrap them this way, but the reason you'd rather not is then you as the artist can control. So you'll cut it right where the V is and cut it so that it goes right along, trying to make it as smooth as possible. Now, I like to leave the curly edges. I like to leave the curly edges like this. I think it adds character and interest, but you may want to get rid of the leaves. You don't have to, but if you do, just gently take your thumb and push right along it and they'll pop right off. They're really easy to get off. If you want to leave them on, you also have that opportunity, but normally for my first round of muscadine, for the wreath making, I like to have it bare because then it's easier and less complicated to make a circle. You're ready. So your first thing is to make a loop. It's really important, make a loop as big as you want the wreath to be. If you want it really, really big, or if you want it small, you can also do small, like you would do an ornament. So, or really, really small. So whatever size you're planning to do, make your wreath. And I'm thinking I like about this big, all right? So you're gonna take the end of that circle and tuck it in. And you're going to try and tuck it under something, all right? So if it doesn't stay, don't worry. You just need to take the rest of your 3-foot segment and wrap it, whoop, around. You'll notice it goes in that. And when it wraps like this, you'll all of a sudden notice how much more secure it is. Now I don't have to hold this point any longer. I can just continue to wrap. Now, if you have longer than 3-foot segments, that's perfectly fine. The important thing is to make sure that your segment is long enough that it can fully make a couple of loops so that you make your wreath sturdy. It can be as tight or as loose as you like. Especially in the beginning, I try not to go too terribly tight, because if you do, it could be brittle and it could break. So you just keep looping it around. And there's the first. And when you notice that it starts to snap like this, just get out your your clippers and clip, and around you go. And if you feel it, like I felt it go again, snap, and done. All right, next one, and we can get another piece to it. How to decide where to add your second one in. You've got to look around your circle and look for where this is your thickest area and this is kind of your thinnest. So try to add it in right where you're starting to get really, really thin. And when I say thin, I mean the diameter of the wreath is thinner than the rest of it. So then you can just hold your hand here, just like you did with the last one. And you take it and you wrap it in. Now again, this one is longer than 3 feet. You can go longer. Longer is fine. Just don't go too short. If you go too short, it will not stay and it will not hold. Part about wreath making is you can do it however thick or however thin you want. I did about 5 strands, 3 of which were about 4 feet long, and another 2 were about 10, and it made this nice thickness here. The one thing you're going to want to note when you're doing it is when you tuck it in, you're going to want to make sure you're tucking it inside and deep within, and especially if you're finishing it off, you want to make sure it finishes and stays. All right, so I'm going to add in the leaves and look around and see where you want the leaves to fall. I've got a short strand here, you'll notice. Very, very short. It'll probably just make it around once. And so I'm just going to tuck it in, again, like we did earlier, and just keep wrapping. All right, you can decide what you want is more of your front and what is your back, but I normally decide based on where the leaves fall. Let nature decide. Sometimes it's easier to just listen to what nature says. Now you can add embellishments, add more leaves if you'd like. You can add bows and ribbons, and you can add all sorts of berries or keep it natural like I'm doing. So ways you can use your wreath, many people hang them on doors, which is great. You can use them as Advent wreaths. I've heard of people putting candles around them, but do remember it is wood. So while it's green wood right now, it will eventually dry out. If you make smaller ones, you can make them into ornaments, and there's loads of more things. They make great centerpieces too. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you'll be able to do this with one of your family and friends. Remember to make sure not to harvest on preserved properties and to only harvest in places that you know and have asked for. I enjoyed making this, and I hope you too will take this home and have fun with you and your family. Have a great day and a happy holidays.